I'm trying to decide what I want to talk about here first, Cody, because the natural place to start would be Chris Sims absolutely losing his mind in his latest quarterback rankings before the draft. I remember he used to go on the Levitard show and he would like rank his top quarterbacks. He's put out his top quarterbacks for the draft, and he said he's about to do a YouTube video where he's going to discuss why. And I'm hoping this is a prank and that he's just using this ranking to get people to his YouTube video. So I might start there, but there's another thing I want to talk about where it's not a huge story, but a lot of times I like to gauge my thought process against normal people like you and Cam, because I'm weird.
No, you're weird, yeah.
And I get worked up about things I probably shouldn't get worked up about, but I don't know if I got worked up about this, but more so I was just like, that's kind of like weird and maybe a little bit gross that we're doing this. Yeah, let's start here because I can't just tease it like that and not then go into it. Max Preps covers all kinds of prep sports, right?
Yeah.
And when I hear prep, I think high school, right? It covers high school sports. I know they like 8th grade teams use it and stuff like that. But for the most part, what we use Max Preps for is it's a place you can go to find rosters and schedules for local high school teams. And it's updated pretty well. A lot of times it's from parents. And Cody, you and I know this from covering these games. A lot of times it is very hit or miss onto how well updated it is. But like anyone else on Instagram, there's no links to anything, so you just have to kind of post cool pictures and get likes and post highlights and stuff like that, right? Well, Max Preps put a post up of a 9-year-old out of Atlanta, and I'm not going to say the name because they said the name and the school. I think it's just weird. It's a 9-year-old out of Atlanta. He's got his helmet on. He's got his football uniform on. He's got like the graphic like every other high school, like every high schooler uses when they're committing or putting out their top 5 or whatever. It's one of those graphics. We've all seen them. It's a 9-year-old. And the direct quote is, blank high school is getting a stud and 9-year-old blankety blank. Remember the name. The 9-year-old, quote unquote, committed to his high school. And Cam, to me, it's just kind of gross and kind of weird that we're doing that with human beings that are younger than 10 years old. Like, I get weirded out when we are overly critical of 15 and 16-year-olds and 17-year-olds who are playing high school sports, right? Like, to me, like the fact that we're putting up posts about 9-year-olds, quote unquote, committing to their high school. Number one, I don't know if you can commit to a high school. Maybe it's a private school, but the high school in question wasn't a private school. I thought that was pretty much just what district you're living in determines what high school you're going to. And I know there's a lot of people in their car saying, oh, you sweet summer child. Yeah, I know what goes on in high school football. But Cam, I mean, am I wrong that my first reaction upon seeing a 9-year-old quote unquote committing to a high school is ugh?
No, you're not wrong. It's sad. That's just the new movement now. I don't know. That's just the new era we're in. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and act like I'm an old head or anything like that.
Yeah.
But in high school, you wanted to compete amongst your friends that want to went to other schools. Now you're recruiting to go to the high school. It's sad, honestly. I hate that it's like that now.
And there's another kid, I think his Instagram thing is like Baby Gronk is his thing. And it's like, I mean, there's like videos of the kid, like, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with this, but it's like the entire Instagram feed for this kid. Cause I got caught into I got sucked into the hole, Cody.
Oh,
yeah.
I
went down the rabbit hole, but like, it's like the videos on this kid's profile are clearly posted from a parent. And it's like videos of him training with the dad like hitting him with the pad while he's running with the football. So I'm like, that's fine. That's cool. Like, I think that's like, I have nothing wrong with parenting like that. I mean, I love it. I used to work out with my dad like that in football and soccer, but it's just using the, again, sub 10-year-old for hype and Instagram likes just feels weird.
To the point of almost exploiting your kid, right? Almost to the point where you're already teaching this kid, hey, social media, you know what I mean? Be on it, do all this. So you're already getting the kids sucked into social media at a very young age. As you know, Christian, I don't really allow my kids much on social media. I feel like
fairly young kids.
Yeah, no, there are kids their age that already have Instagram and all that stuff. And I try not to get them into that. And I feel like if you get them in there too young, and then you start hyping them up with this football stuff, it's so weird. 9 years old, it's not even in freaking middle school yet. And so why did he commit to a middle school yet?
I know that's a big question,
You
right? I know
skipped it.
there's a middle school coaches out there sweating right now, but it's just, I mean, like I said, for the most part, 99% of high school students are going to go to the school in which they're districted in, right? That's the rule. I mean, and then the other 0.5% go off and go to private schools. And then the other 0.5%, that's where you get the shady kind of mailboxes, and
You got a problem down to Winn-Dixie.
you get problems down at the Winn-Dixie, correct. So it just feels weird to me. But I think the thing I keep coming back to is if it was like an 8th grader committing to go to a high school, that's still just kind of weird to me, right? And I don't want to use the term gross, but it's just, it gives me a dirty feeling, right? When we're just hyping up 9-year-olds about what high school they're committing to when they haven't gotten out of 5th grade yet.
Yeah, I wouldn't. It's so strange, and it's what state was this in?
This is Georgia.
Yeah, I can definitely see Georgia.
This is in the Atlanta area.
Yeah,
but this guy isn't the only dad doing this. Like I think the baby Gronk kids out in California, like this has become, like Cam said, a new fad where my kids lighten up the U8 football camps where like half the kids are standing there picking their nose and kids are turning around looking the wrong way,
chasing butterflies.
Right. It's like, man, you see my kid ran for 200 yards in the game. It's like, it's because half the kids have no idea what they're doing.
Yep.
I mean, Cody, we've coached your kids' football teams. It's rough.
It's rough, dude.
We're running to the right. We're teaching you the basics, right? But it's just like we got like the full on 7-on-7 hype videos for 7-8-year-olds. It's just, to me, it's odd. And I saw that Max Preps post. Like I said, it is the full graphic with like the kid dripped out in his uniforms, which I'm not gonna lie, his uniform in that is sick. Like he's got a really cool uniform. Like the uniform that 9-year-old's wearing is nicer than any uniform I ever wore at any level of football. But I don't know, Cam. It's just, I think back, I don't even know if I have significant memories from when I was 9 years old. Like I can remember like my teachers and a little bit of sports, but like I distinctly remember, I don't know exactly how old I was, but it was younger than like 12, playing baseball for the 1 year I played baseball, and they just stuck me in the outfield, and I have zero memories from those games because the balls never got hit to me. I just kind of stood out there and then ran back in. Like I cannot even imagine being like, yo, we're gonna drop my top 6 high schools when I get home tonight on the gram.
Yeah, that's true. And then also, like, I don't remember what grade I was in high school. I mean, in 9th grade. I don't remember what grade. Well, when I was 9 years old. And then it creates unwanted pressure. Like, you're putting pressure on a 9-year-old kid talking about what high school he's going to commit to.
Say what it is,
first?
He's probably 3rd or 4th grade, just let you guys know.
Yeah, but say what it is. It's probably a parent going for clout.
Yeah, it is. That's wrong, though. Getting clout off a 9-year-old kid or your child in general is wrong, and then you're putting pressure on them. It's just messed up. Like, I'm just imagining my pops doing that when I was 9 years old, saying, yeah, my son's doing. No, just let them play and just enjoy the moment like they're kids at the end of the day.
My dad was too much of a coach for all that. Like, he would have never in his life of even dreamed of doing something like that. I don't even know if he would have known how to use Instagram.
I think I posted like one video of Colton doing anything.
Well, that's where I want to ask the question is, where do you draw the line? Is I have no problem with like Kevin and you like posting pictures of their kids playing sports. I think that's cool. It's like, it's kind of what like Facebook and Instagram are there for. So 6-7 years from now, you can go back and look at the pictures. But where do you draw the line between this is just kind of weird and you're using your kid for social media
family videos,
or you're just sharing pictures for other people to see?
Yeah, it's family videos, and then it goes to clout like real quick. Yeah. When you start doing hype videos, the graphics, all the, like, you're not doing that for any other reason but besides trying to get likes and follows and shares and stuff like that. It's definitely clout.
It's a difference from exposure and like just clout. Like, if you put exposure, oh, my son hit a home run today, X, Y, and Z, that's cool. But then when you're talking about, you know, what middle school is he going to go to or what high school he's going to go to at 9 years old, and then making all these graphics and promo videos, that's different from getting your son exposure. Like, it's weird. It's really weird to me, honestly. It's always been weird. and I wasn't even 9 years old
Creepy.
knowing about social media.
I'm showing
Creepy.
Cody the post now of the kid, and again, I don't want to share it because it's a 9-year-old kid, and that just it feels awkward to me to do that. Like, number one, Cody, that uniform's sick,
It is.
but also extremely, just to me, a little bit odd that we're pumping out.
I'm watching the hype video right now.
Yeah.
See.
Once again, like he is an amazing athlete, but 75% of the kids that he's going up against have no idea what's happening.
He's doing a 40 time and everything like that. Like,
yeah,
what
they're
the
like
heck?
they're in, like
smacking
Cody
them
said,
with pads and stuff.
3rd and 4th grade, so they're like they still go to recess.
Oh yeah,
That's a thing that is a daily occurrence in these children's lives, and we're posting the highlight video. I don't know. I know it sounds like a get off my lawn kind of moment here, but it's just that I just wanted to gauge y'all's thoughts on it, because I mean I fully expected Cody to be like, no, that's cool. I got like 7 high videos of my boy that I'm posted on the YouTube channel right now.
I don't like to fill up his head because next year he should be starting at quarterback. So I don't try to like hype him up too much. You don't want to put their heads full. You know,
here's
you
what's
don't
my
wanna...
other thought too is, what's the high school coach of that school saying when someone's like, hey, big commitment you guys got? Number one, he's like, what the hell are you talking about commitment? We don't get commitments. Like, whoa, because the school in question is a public school. So he's like, he's like, oh, we don't get commitments. And they're like, no, you see that 9-year-old that committed to you? He's like, anyway, I'm worried about Booster Club and fundraising and
have problems down at Winn-Dixie.
Problems down at the Winn-Dixie, which is just always a major. If
you guys don't know what that is, go back to our old shows on ESPNCoastal.com and find it out.
You don't have to explain the joke.
I'm just saying, you don't get the show.
Yeah, exactly. The folks listening know.
Yep.
That being said, I do want to get to Chris Sims losing his mind. We're also going to talk about the top out of conference games coming up in 2021 in college football. Listen, it's like Trevor Lawrence. We pretty much know he's going number 1 overall, and so we kind of start the mock drafts at number 2. That's how we're going to start with the conference out of conference games. We all know Georgia Clemson's going to be number 1 on that list. We'll start at number 2, but a lot of really cool, a lot of great uniform games coming up in 2021. We'll dive on all of that coming up next right here on Second Down. So often during our shows, the direction of the show changes course during the commercial breaks, and that's about to happen here, at least momentarily. We just listened to a commercial from one of our sponsors about rotisserie chickens, and so the question was asked, Cam, do you ever use utensils when consuming a rotisserie chicken? And both Cody and Kevin confirmed that indeed they use utensils whilst serving and eating rotisserie chicken. And my question was, wait, who are you serving the rotisserie
I
chicken
just said
to?
I use utensils.
I said, who are you? So you're using your hands to
I'm ripping
serve
it off.
to
yeah.
serve to your children.
Washing my hands
To
and just
serve to your
ripping
children.
it off. It's easier than
Well,
like
we have okay.
you
Then we
gotta
have
get the nooks and crannies and
we
stuff.
have
You can't just do
two
it.
we have two disputes then now.
Mhm.
Number one, Kevin uses utensils when serving and eating rotisserie chicken. That's weird. You use your fingers when you're eating a rotisserie
Mhm.
chicken. That's the end of the story. Number two, Cody and Kevin both believe that a single rotisserie chicken is enough to be the main course when feeding a family. When in fact, I have always looked at a rotisserie chicken as a single serve for a single person. Like
Bottomless
if
pit.
you go out with your friends, you each pick up your own personal rotisserie chicken. Some might just like the old school house rub on their chicken. Some people might like the lemon pepper. Someone
The
wants the
mojo.
barbecue
Oh, yeah.
rotisserie chicken. But you eat that entire rotisserie chicken by yourself.
I've never done that. You pick
I
up
have
chicken
been
clean.
I have been and stayed in a hotel room on a trip with a former college and NFL defensive lineman and watched him eat 3 rotisserie chickens without breathing hard.
Yeah, I'm not. I don't do that. Like,
Cam, how
that's
do
a
you
lot.
feel about this conundrum?
I eat my own rotisserie chicken. I'm fat. I'm skinny but fat, so I eat my own. I don't and utensils. I don't use no
Yeah, I mean
utensils.
you're picking the
Yeah.
bone clean, right? Yeah.
Hands, man. Utensils. We're not pretty boys. Use the hands.
So Cody, you have never eaten an entire rotisserie chicken.
No, but I think I'm going to try it now.
It's not hard.
Oh no, it seems like it could be real easy.
That's one of those things where it's like after I eat the entire thing, I'm like, I could probably go for a second, but I have to stop myself.
It's like trying to house. I feel like it's the same as almost housing a large pizza.
Yeah. You just have to stop yourself
It's the same,
afterwards.
yeah.
You're still hungry, but you're like, I should probably stop. But no, that watching a grown man inhale 3 rotisserie chickens is probably one of the more impressive things
Watching a
I've ever
grown
seen in my
man
life.
inhaling a whole rotisserie chicken. I've
That's
not
not
never done this.
impressive. That's like a Tuesday night meal for me. You pick it up from Publix, you're good to go.
Yeah, it's cheap too. So
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm gonna have to try that. Not tonight, but
Oh, you got
another night.
important dad duties tonight.
Yes, it's my daughter's birthday. Happy birthday, Gracie. She's 10 years old.
There you go.
Happy
Man,
birthday.
how does that make
birthday.
you feel? You feel old? Like, cause I'm sure you still like in your mind, you were the guy who was like holding the baby. And like now it's a decade later. Do you feel old?
No, I don't feel old. I know I felt old for a while.
You got some gray in that there
because of
beard.
my son. Now I'm just like 8 more years, and I
Until
got
the
no
big-
kids in the house, baby. It's just counting down the days like a prison sentence almost. But then again, you don't want them to get old. You want them to stay kids. So it's a very weird conundrum where no more take care of kids, be cheaper. Just got to take care of myself, And then you're like, I don't want my babies to grow up, man. And it's just, I don't even want to think about her growing up or my son growing up. My son's through this pre-teenage, and sometimes he talks like this. Sometimes he talks like this. I know you saw it the other day when we ran
I saw him
into
the
you.
other day, and like Cam, his voice, like I'm used to his voice kind of being up here like this, and he goes, "Hey, what's up, Mr. Christian?" And I'm like, "Bro, you can't sneak up behind me like that without
Can't come
voice
at me like
anymore."
that
I think a grown man standing
with
behind
your
me.
Machine Gun Kelly haircut.
Yeah,
Like,
it's a-
get out of here.
It's a 12-year-old. I was like, "Oh, Colton, oh, you dropped."
How
Okay.
you doing? Like,
Yeah.
whoa.
But we will come back from the tangent of the rotisserie chicken now that we have settled that, and I know Cam and I are on the same wavelength.
How's
on that
it a
one.
whole chickens? Like,
It's not hard to eat
How-
that.
I'm gonna have to eat every chicken in here.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's
If one more word starts pouring out your mouth,
Yep.
I'm gonna have to eat every chicken in this.
That was the most horrifying 10 seconds of my
Yeah,
life because I
it
was waiting
was.
for you to drop the curse words.
Oh
in there.
no. See, I can go around it. Look at me.
Every now and then.
Yeah, sometimes.
Every now and then.
I
we'll
have
filter.
gotten in trouble for that.
Yes, but let's filter back to someone else who lost their mind. Chris Sims.
Like what I was going through Cam's top quarterbacks in the draft, and he was like, I was like, oh, Trey Lance, you got him, and he was like, over, Lawrence, and I was like, whoa, what are you talking about? And then he showed me the list of Sims, and I was like, what is going on?
Yeah, he was looking at your list, Cam, and he's like, wow, I can't believe where he has Trey Lance. I'm like, you looking at that list, and that's your first thought? Because I thought he was looking at Chris Sims. Let's just go through Chris Sims's list and
chaos.
Yeah, I don't even have words for it. He has Zach Wilson as his number one quarterback in the draft, which we've heard this from some other people. And to me, my first thought is either A, they think he might be more volatile, but he has a higher ceiling than Trevor Lawrence, or B, they're just looking for clicks. Fine, we've seen it. He has Lawrence number 2. Number 3, he has Mac Jones, which I think is the same as you, Cody. I think you
have Mac Jones number 2.
Yep.
I have Mac Jones number 3.
So Cam has the same as Sims. You have him over Wilson, Cody.
I have him over.
We don't need to go through the whole list, but
Fields barely. I'm talking about, dude. It's like splitting hairs.
But we've seen Mac Jones this far. So far, this isn't necessarily different than anything we've seen from some other folks. Here's where it gets weird. Number 4, he has Kellen Mond.
Oh
Lord.
Which. Nothing against Kellen Mond. I think he will be an NFL quarterback. I don't know if he's a starting NFL quarterback. He might be a career backup, but Kellen Mond was, I think, statistically, he's Texas A&M's best quarterback ever.
Yeah.
Statistically. He, in no way, so we have to think about the guys he's above. He has him over Justin Fields and Trey Lance, which I'll be 1,000% honest with you. I don't know what to think about Trey Lance. I've watched some of his tape, and he's an athlete, and he's got a big arm, but I haven't seen anything out of him outside of just his physical attributes where I'm like, wow, that dude's a bona fide top 10 pick. Obviously, all the draft pundits believe he is, but again, Zach Wilson, Trevor Lawrence, Mac Jones, Kellen Mond, Justin Fields, and Trey Lance. I mean, Cam, let's try to be fair and think outside the box. What about Kellen Mond would lead Chris Sims to rank him above Justin Fields and Trey Lance?
I have no clue. I don't see how you.
Perfect.
I don't see how you get above Kyle Trask. So, hey, I have him number 5 on my list. I just don't see it. But hey, we'll get to the list in a second. I'm not gonna go to it yet. But dang.
But Cody, I think back, and Kellen Mond has played in some big games. For the most part, came out on the losing side of them. I mean, that's just the reality of playing in the SEC West for the most part. But he does have the game against Florida where he was really impressive. But for the most part, it's been, that's a good. You're playing Texas A&M, Kellen Mond, that's a good quarterback. Nowhere within 2020 did I ever hear Kellen Mond is a bona fide top 4 NFL draft quarterback.
It's because he's not. It's you had a pretty good, well-run offense. He was passing heavy. Did he really clutch any games? I really don't think he did. Did they really win a bunch of games because of him? I really don't think they did. Does he have what it takes to be in the NFL? I think he'll be a career backup, like you were saying. I think he'll be a good backup. I think you get a few games out of him, maybe a year. But besides that, I don't see Kellen Mond being over most of these guys. Justin Fields alone was laughable. I'm actually a fan of
the comp between Kellen Mond and Justin Fields was laughable, is what you're saying.
Yes.
Not Justin Fields is laughable.
No. And I'm a big fan of Trey Lance, very good running quarterback. Last game he did was 150 passing yards, 150 rushing. You know what I mean? I think he's an athlete. I think he's much better than Mond, and I think he's better than actually Zach Wilson. I am a believer in Lance, and I feel like he gets hated a lot. And this over valuing Wilson, and then now Mond's coming out. I don't what like where is this coming from?
I don't know where the Trey Lance defense from you is coming from. That's a little weird to me because all of a sudden we're riding for Trey Lance. But,
not me.
Yeah, but it's just I'm just looking at him compared to some of the other guys. And again, the one that to me is nuts is he has him over Justin Fields. And so let's just look back at their last 2 seasons. I will say this: Kellen Mond had a pretty incredible 2-game stretch, 1 loss, 1 win, but he had Alabama and Florida back-to-back. Against Alabama, and this is at Bryant-Denny Stadium, 318 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception, 135 quarterback rating. He had 19 yards on the ground, but I mean, still 318 yards, 3 touchdowns against Alabama. Now, that was before Alabama's defense had really kicked into high gear, but still an impressive performance on the road. But you do lose 44-25. You only put up 25 points there. So then you come back next week, you're at home, and you play Florida, and you go 25 for 35, 338 yards, 3 touchdowns, a 180 passer rating, and you rush for 8 yards in that game. But it was the clutch throws that he made in that game. He's got a big live arm, and he beat Florida deep a few times, and that was just the bad Florida blitzes that kept costing them in that game. Just the
don't remind me.
Yeah, the untimely blitzes where everyone in the stadium knew they were coming, including Jimbo Fisher and Kellen Mond. But I mean, still, so you go back-to-back games, 650 plus yards, 6 touchdowns, 1 interception, and it's against 2 of arguably the top. I won't say arguably 2 of the top 10 teams in the country and 2 teams that met in the SEC championship. So, I mean, not a bad couple of games there, but then immediately the next week against a pretty bad Mississippi State defense, you complete less than 60% of your passes for only 139 yards, 2 touchdowns and interception. He against LSU, who did not have a good defense whatsoever this year, 11 of 34, 105 yards in that game. And I mean, that's just kind of what it was with Kellen Mond. It was kind of a roller coaster. And then you go on to play in the bowl game against North Carolina, throw for 232 yards, no touchdowns, just kind of a meh game. Now, to be fair, he did have some pretty amazing running backs in the backfield. Isaiah Spiller, if you don't follow him, you should, because that dude's a heck of a running back. Going to be really fun to watch in the SEC next year. But still, on the season that he played 10 games total, he had 2,282 passing yards, 19 touchdowns, only 3 interceptions, and a 146 passer rating. In 2 less games, Justin Fields threw for 2,100 passing yards, 22 touchdowns, and had a 175.6 passer rating.
Yep.
And so it's just, I'm struggling to see how he's better. I could see where you're saying people are maybe undervaluing Kellen Mond. He's a big, tall dude, huge arm, pretty mobile. He's a little slender, but he's strong. Like, I've seen him shake out of a few sacks from some big-time SEC defensive linemen. But Cam, we have Chris Sims's list. I'm curious how you have your quarterbacks ranked for the NFL draft.
Lawrence is 1, Fields in 2. That's clear cut. It's been like that for 2 years. Then I put Mac Jones over Zach Wilson because of the fact he played in the SEC and just had a terrific year. That Power 5, that experience, I like that over Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson is at 4 because, I mean, you throw 33 touchdowns, 3 picks. That counts being number 4. Now, 5, I have Kyle Trask ahead of Trey Lance. Trask was good this year, and I believe so last year.
He was pretty good last year. Yeah,
but I remember they gave LSU a run for their money for most of the game in the swamp last year, in the shootout before LSU pulled away towards the end. I mean, he was good, but I just can't put Trey Lance over him. I've only seen matter of fact, I haven't seen any games of Trey Lance. You have to go watch highlights. Who can sit here and say they've watched a full game of Trey Lance start to finish?
I've watched
live, never.
Yeah, it's exactly. And it's FCS. Until I'm not FBS biased, but until you could prove to me that you could play at a higher level, right now I'm just going to stick with the FBS guys and those Power 5 guys. That's what I'm choosing. So Lance at 6, Trask at 5, Wilson, Jones, Fields, Lawrence.
Cody?
Number 6, Kyle Trask. Kyle Trask to me is a good quarterback. Yeah, depends what system he's in. He will thrive. I think he'll if the Patriots get him, I think he will be starting. If not, he'll be a good backup quarterback. Zach Wilson, number 5. Not a big fan of Zach Wilson. I feel like he's going to get frustrated once he starts losing, when he starts going to not a very good team. I feel like he's going to start just breaking down. I don't feel like he's as good as people think. He didn't play a very strong schedule last year. I'm not a big Zach Wilson fan. Number 4, Trey Lance. Trey Lance is just a straight up athlete. I think he's an animal. I was watching tape on him. I like Trey Lance a lot. I think he has lots of upside. If you try to get him out there as an athlete, you can do a lot with it. He's got a big arm. He can take hits. I really like Trey Lance. Number 3, Justin Fields. I got Justin Fields number 3 and Mac Jones number 2. I'm telling you, I am splitting hairs on this one. If you would tell me I'd put Justin Fields 2, I would be like, okay, you can like talk me into it. This is how close I think Mac Jones and Justin Fields is. Justin Fields is a great, great talent. If you've seen the last few games he played in the season, how much he can take hits, had the pride this man has, the confidence this man has. I love Justin Fields. Mac Jones, man, I know he had a great team, but man, he put the ball where the ball needed to be to get his players going the way they went. I love Mac Jones. I think he'll be a good quarterback in the NFL. I think he's NFL ready, some of the most NFL ready quarterback in the draft besides Trevor Lawrence. And bringing that, Trevor Lawrence number 1. I have nothing else to say about Trevor Lawrence because his athletic ability and his tape shows all that needs to be said. He's going to be the next Andrew Luck. I think he's going to be a very good quarterback. If not, then it will be the Ryan Leaf thing. Everybody will be shocked and surprised and be dumbfounded if he doesn't do good.
Yeah, I mean, Lawrence is the clear number 1 to me.
Yeah.
I think anyone who doesn't have him number 1 is either, as we said, saying that they feel like they value Wilson's upside more than the guarantee of Trevor Lawrence. They think that Wilson can do something crazy, and that's what they're valuing more so than, again, a locked-in number 1 overall pick. So Lawrence is my number 1. I have Justin Fields number 2. All the stuff that you're saying about Trey Lance, how athletic he is, what he can bring to an NFL offense, Justin Fields does that, and he's better at it. And also, he's a better passer than Trey Lance. He has a faster 40 time. He's just as big as Trey Lance, and he's done it with his arm on a more consistent basis against better teams than Trey Lance has done it against. So I think Justin Fields is the clear number 2 quarterback in this draft. I find it weird that more folks don't have him that way. For the most part, I've just seen Wilson and Lawrence has 1, 2, and then Fields has been fighting for 3rd. I think he's clearly the number 2 quarterback in this draft. Number 3 is Zach Wilson. I like his arm. I like some of the stuff I've seen in the games that I've watched of him and then going back and watching some of the tape. But I still just haven't seen that moment where he put his team on his back and he was just far and away the player that you knew was going to win the game. I know Ryan Clark was talking about that with Deshaun Watson, right? You knew you were horrified if you were on the other side of the field against Deshaun Watson because anytime he had the ball, you felt like he could do, like Dabo Swinney said, he was Michael Jordan, right? You could just lean on him and he would bring your team back. I haven't seen that out of Zach Wilson, so I have him number 3 right now. Number 4 is Mac Jones. I think Mac Jones is going to have to go somewhere, and I'm not saying the Falcons are going to do this, but someone like an Arthur Smith, where it's heavy play action. You allow him, Bruce Arians at Tampa Bay, where you allow him to stay in the pocket and throw and only scramble if need be, right? Because Mac Jones, he's fairly athletic, but he's a pocket passer. But when he's a pocket passer, he's lethal. He's what Kyle Trask wants to be. And I'm not taking anything away from Kyle Trask. I think Kyle Trask is fine, but Mac Jones, you're like, oh, he has Devonta Smith and he had Jalen Waddle and he had all these guys. Yeah, but he's putting on a dime. I mean, some of the touchdowns he threw against Georgia were nuts. Like, you could not defend the passes that Mac Jones threw. Just had the best passing performance sub Joe Burrow that we've seen in a single season. So yeah, Mac Jones. And then, I'll let you fight it out over if you want to take the risk on a Trey Lance, if you want to go with somebody who's done in the SEC with a Kyle Trask, or if you want to do Kellen Mond there. I don't think Lance is going to be a great NFL quarterback. I think a lot of it's smoke. I think a lot of people like 6'3", 230, big arm. Like, oh, obviously he's going to be great. I think he's going to be fine. So the rest of those guys are just a toss up to me. But having Kellen Mond above Justin Fields is just nuts, and having
atrocious,
and having Zach Wilson above Trevor Lawrence, and I'll say this until I'm proven wrong, having Zach Wilson above Trevor Lawrence is just incomprehensible to me as well. So there you go, Chris Sims. He said he's going to do a YouTube video explaining his rankings and why he has them there. I will be absolutely locked in. So maybe that was the point of the entire exercise. We'll come back, talk about some out of conference games coming up in 2021 right here on Second Down. Cody, this song right here, I distinctly remember you making fun of me for this song while we were listening to it in the car, and then when I brought it up as a liner, you making fun of me for it. And then the other day on your Instagram stories, it was this song playing with the lyrics rolling down the stories. Explain yourself.
I might have been drinking whenever I made the first comment. I don't know.
You were drinking while we were working.
Yeah, probably.
Explain yourself. It's okay to be like, man, this is lame, and then you actually like sit there and
It's
listen
okay
to
to
it.
change your mind. Yeah, it's
And then
okay.
you actually listen to it, and you're like, oh wow, maybe I shouldn't have called him lame.
I changed my mind. My man's
maybe-
over here ragging on me for changing my mind.
Maybe Waylon.
I changed my mind. It's a good song. It's a very good song.
Anywho,
Shame on you for changing your mind, sir.
I'm not shaming you. I asked for your opinion.
No,
You're
over here trying to roast me.
I told the
Like-
story. I told the story, and I asked what happened. You went from ragging me to listening to it and posting it on your IG.
I don't. Do you have proof I was ragging?
You said it to me. That's the only proof I need.
Yeah,
Cam,
don't know what to talk about.
Cam, a lot of big out of conference games coming up in college football in 2021. Obviously, the marquee one everybody has circled, week 1, September 4th, Clemson versus Georgia. That one actually taking place in Charlotte, so a quote unquote neutral site for that game. But curious what your top out of conference games are after that, because there are some awesome ones, some great uniform games coming up in 2021.
After that, I got 4. Auburn, Penn State. Both of them kind of had a down year, in my opinion, especially Penn State. Looking to see one of those teams get back on track with that matchup. Oregon, Ohio State, we were supposed to have that last year due to COVID. We couldn't have that, so they pushed it back a year. That's going to be a cool uniform matchup game, and we get to see Ohio State's new quarterback. And then Ole Miss, Louisville. I'm excited to see Ole Miss. Can they take that next step into being just a ranked team, a team that's formidable in the SEC West? Not going to win it, but just formidable. And then lastly, it's going to come crazy when I say this, Texas. I think Texas and Arkansas. Arkansas was surprisingly they were actually pretty good last year.
Yeah.
And Texas, they've been on the downslide these past few years. Let's see if Arkansas could get an upset. So those are my top 4 games.
Cody?
Got my top. Let's
Oh,
see.
no.
I got my top 3.
Oh, no.
I'm going top 3.
I didn't say you
Number
guys
3,
had to rank them. I just think I just want to talk about some of the cool ones.
Auburn, Penn State. It's going to be at Penn State.
Happy Valley.
Happy Valley is extremely fun place. I've learned a lot from PJ Zuko. It's right next to like a cow field and everything. It's got lots of history around there. It's a beautiful stadium. Auburn at Penn State. Bo Nix going against. And I hope Penn State does the all white out uniforms. Beautiful uniforms. Going number 3. Auburn at Penn State. Miami and Alabama in Atlanta. It's going to be an amazing game. Maybe we could try to go see it. It'd be amazing.
Is that what we're doing?
Yes. But I want to try to go to this game, at least get deep into the watching of it. Bama, Miami. Bama's going to beat them down, but it's cool to go.
Really?
It's going to be cool to beat Atlanta,
All right.
during that game. So it's a cool game. It's one of the games I am looking forward to watch. Clemson, UGA in Charlotte.
I said we're not talking about that because we all know that that's the number 1 game.
No, but it's in Charlotte.
That's fine. Like, okay, so that's what makes it interesting for you. It's Georgia, Clemson, JT Daniels against the Clemson defense, all the Georgia weapons. But you're like, no, that's not what makes it cool. The cool thing is it's playing in that weird blue Panther Stadium.
It's the coolest.
The nasty.
All right. Anyway, no, I mean the games you guys mentioned are going to be awesome. Cam, did you say LSU, UCLA? Because I think that's going to be an awesome game.
Where are they playing?
I didn't say that.
Ooh.
I didn't say that because I've never been excited about UCLA in
It
football.
doesn't
but
matter if UCLA is good or not. It's the uniform matchup, Cam. The yellow helmets against of LSU against the
Louisiana
gold
boys in
helmets of
LA.
UCLA. That's going to be amazing. I think an underrated one, Liberty at Ole Miss. Liberty coming in with an amazing offense, coming off of a great season, as Cody said, and Matt Corral at Ole Miss. Would not be surprised if 140 points get scored in that game.
yeah.
Like would not shock me whatsoever. That game's going to be so much fun to watch. Again, so LSU, UCLA. You guys mentioned Auburn, Penn State. Another one that I'm always excited for, and a couple that we didn't get last year because of the ACC and the SEC. eliminating out of conference games or not playing out of conference games. Florida State at Florida and Georgia at Georgia Tech. Really excited to get those back. But the one I don't feel many people are talking about, and it's definitely going to get overlooked week 1, and it shouldn't because it might be the biggest result of the day. Louisiana, the Ragin' Cajuns, go to take on Texas at Texas. Louisiana was
in Austin, baby.
Yeah, Louisiana was a phenomenal football team last year, a top 15 football team last year. Texas better be ready to roll because they very well might start the Steve Sarkisian era 0-1. And I'm really excited for that game. And then flip side of that, another Sun Belt team who scheduling did them absolutely zero favors. Listen to the first 4 weeks for Georgia State, my alma mater. Army.
Oh.
At North Carolina.
Oh.
They welcome in the Charlotte 49ers, which, hey, you better hope you get a win there. And then their next 2 weeks at Auburn, and then they host App State.
Oh.
That might be the
1-4.
That might be the most difficult start to a season anywhere in the country. Georgia State, Panthers better be ready to roll coming up in 2021. We got more to come. Final segment of Second Down coming up next. If you are a fan of early 2000s SEC football, do we have a 3 and out coming up for you? Number one, of course, every day you get to hear from Florida Gator All-American Ben Troop on the show, but also today, former Georgia All-American linebacker Rennie Curran. You remember him during the days of Matt Stafford, Noshawn Marino, those teams. Number 35 coming off the edge was a hell of a linebacker for the University of Georgia. And then immediately following Rennie, going to catch up with former Auburn running back Brad Lester. So a lot of SEC football talk on the show today coming up. But Cam, funny story about this. I think these guys coming up in back-to-back segments. Rennie Curran played football at Brookwood High School. Brad Lester played high school at Parkview High School. So those guys were crosstown rivals growing up. And then later on in college, Brad Lester played in the game where Georgia initially broke out the black uniforms against Auburn. Rennie Curran played in that same game. So really looking forward to catching up with both of those guys. You can hear that coming up next on 3 and Out.